Hello guys, in this video we are going to discuss about hydroboration oxidation reaction. This reaction provides us a very efficient way to perform a hydration reaction on an unsymmetrical alkene, and the reaction follows a anti-Markovnikov addition pathway. So here I have provided a typical example by choosing propene as the alkene molecule. The first step will be obviously the hydroboration step, and the second step is the oxidation step. So in the first step, this alkene molecule reacts with boron. BH3 is the formula of boron. So boron initially taken in a solvent which is nucleophilic in nature. In this case, it is tetrahydrofuran. So when the propene will be taken into the solution of boron molecule in tetrahydrofuran, it will undergo a reaction which will be an electrophilic addition reaction, and the product of this reaction will be a monoalkyl boron. If we choose this alkene in 1 equivalent and we take the boron in also 1 equivalent, then the product will be a monoalkyl boron. I am representing this whole group as R, so you will be able to understand this. So monoalkyl boron will form if we take 1 equivalent of alkene and 1 equivalent of boron. But if the alkene molecule is in 3 equivalent, then the initially formed monoalkyl boron will react with the unreacted alkene molecules, and thereby the reaction will provide the formation of trialkyl boron. So this will be the product when the alkene molecule is in 3 equivalent and the boron is in 1 equivalent. So this is the first step, which is hydroboration. You can see the hydrogen and the BH2, these two groups possess a syn relationship with each other, which makes the first step a very stereospecific step. And the product, which is the monoalkyl boron, possesses a syn relationship with the incoming hydrogen and the BH2 group. Also, we can see that this BH2 group is attached in the product molecule. This BH2 group is attached with the less substituted carbon atom of the alkene molecule. This makes this reaction highly regioselective. What is regioselectivity? If we consider this hydroboration step, then this BH2 group can enter at the less substituted carbon atom as well as at the more substituted carbon atom. But in this particular case, it is selectively coming or selectively attaching with the less substituted carbon atom, which makes this reaction a regioselective reaction. And this is regioselectivity, an example of regioselectivity. So the first step is highly stereospecific syn addition, and it is also regioselective in nature. And after we obtain this monoalkyl boron or trialkyl boron, if we perform an oxidation reaction, the oxidation generally performed via the treatment with hydrogen peroxide in aqueous sodium hydroxide solution. So after this oxidation step, we will eventually replace this BH2 group or this carbon boron bond with a carbon oxygen bond, or an OH group is replacing this BH2 group. So overall, we can see that in the product molecule, both the incoming OH group and the previously attached hydrogen is possessing a syn relationship also. And here the regioselectivity is also maintained. So the incoming OH group is also attached with the less substituted carbon atom. So the overall reaction is highly regioselective hydration reaction, where the OH group is attached with the less substituted carbon atom. And also, since the H and the OH group possess a syn relationship, so the overall reaction is also stereospecific. So these are the very interesting features of hydroboration oxidation reaction, which makes this reaction very useful in organic synthesis. So before we go into the detailed mechanism of both these steps, let us first consider the Lewis acidity of boron molecules. We all know that boron has a electronic configuration of 1s2, 2s2 and 2p1. So during hybridization or to make covalent bonds with other elements, it essentially unpair these two electrons of 2s orbital and attain this electronic configuration. And during this process, the 2pz, let's say the 2pz orbital remains vacant. So the first step is the excitation. And after that, mixing of 1s and 2p orbital take place. This mixing is also termed as hybridization. So mixing or hybridization will result in the formation of 3 sp2 orbitals. And these 3 sp2 orbitals will be involved in making 3 covalent bonds. In case of boron, these 3 bonds are the 3 boron-hydrogen bonds. So this boron is in sp2 hybridization state. And we can see that this 2pz orbital will remain as a vacant orbital in all the boron compounds. In this case it is boron, but other boron compounds where these hydrogen groups are replaced by other groups, for example halogens or alkyl or aromatic groups, there also the boron will possess the same hybridization state with a vacant p orbital. So this accounts for the tremendous Lewis acidity for any boron compounds. And due to this reason, boron does not remain in monomeric form. It remains as a dimeric entity. So this is the structure of boron, which remains as a dimer. You can see that 2 hydrogen atoms are shared between each boron center, and these are the half bonds. They are not a full single bond, so the bond order will be roughly 0.5, and that's why it is called half bonds. So it remains in equilibrium with the monomeric form. So you can see that the dimeric form favors most in the equilibrium, and it remains in high amount in the system. So when we want to perform any hydroboration type of reaction, we must break this dimeric structure into the monomeric form. In order to increase the electrophilicity of the reagents, which is the boron itself. And to perform that, the dimeric form of boron are taken in a nucleophilic solvents like tetrahydrofuran, where the oxygen atom with lone pairs attacks this boron or dimeric species, and it results in the formation of a monomeric boron, which is coordinated with the solvent molecule. So this is the active electrophile in hydroboration reaction. So now if we put the alkene substrate in this solution, this THF will be replaced by this alkene molecule. Since the alkene molecule possesses a pi electronic cloud, and we all know that pi electrons are easily polarizable due to their diffuseness, and that's why it will possess some Lewis basicity. And we all know that Lewis base interacts with Lewis acids, which is boron molecule itself in this case. So there will be initial interaction between this alkene molecule and the boron, and this interaction will result in the formation of a pi complex. So we can represent the pi complex like this, or we can represent it like that. Right? So this is the initial interaction between the alkene and the boron molecule. So after getting sufficient activation energy, this pi complex will undergo bond breaking, and thereby it will form a sigma complex, or it will form the product molecules via a one-step reaction. So now the nucleophilic attack by the alkene molecule will take place as the electron deficient boron center of the boron molecule. So the double bond can break in two ways. Either it will break in this way, or it can break in this way. So if we consider the first case, that is the breaking of the double bond in this way, then we will obtain this intermediate. The reaction is concerted, that is, it takes place in one step. This type of intermediate will never form in the reaction mixture. But why this is not formed into the reaction mixture? To explain that, I have to consider first its formation, and then I will explain why it is not forming during the reaction. So if this intermediate forms during the reaction, then we can see that there is a formation of highly electron deficient carbocation center, as well as the formation of a borohydride like species. So we all know that borohydride is a very strong reducing agent. It reduces a wide range of compounds. So in this scenario, this species contains a highly electron deficient carbocation as well as a strongly reducing agent, which is borohydride center. So you can see that it is very impossible or very unlikely to form this kind of species which contains these both highly reactive centers at the same time. So what will happen, as soon as this carbocation formation will initiate, the boron center of the borohydride species will immediately release a hydride, and thereby it will reduce this carbocation center. And that's why the initially broken double bond cannot undergo any single bond free rotation, and thereby the scene addition is maintained. The stereospecific scene addition is thereby maintained. No anti-addition is observed due to this reason. Right? Clear? So now we will discuss the concerted mechanism. So if we consider the breaking of this double bond in this fashion, it will attack this boron center, and as soon as this boron center is attacked by this double bond, it will immediately release one hydride which will attack this carbon center, and this will lead to the formation of this transition state. Here one interesting thing we have to consider. Since the first step is the attack of this double bond to the boron center, that's why the extent of formation of this carbon-boron bond will be higher than that of the extent of formation of carbon-hydrogen bond. So the bond order in the transition state for this carbon-hydrogen will be less than that of carbon-boron, and this will lead to a unsymmetrical transition state. So what unsymmetrical transition state means? It means the polarization will be unsymmetrically. So this carbon will be polarized as del plus, or this carbon will possess del plus charge, and the boron center will also possess del minus charge. There is another possibility when the double bond will break in the opposite fashion. Consider that the double bond now breaks in this fashion. I am showing both the possibilities in order to explain the mechanism efficiently. So if the double bond breaks in this way and attacks this boron center, then after this attack, boron will release a hydride and this will attack this carbon center. And this will lead to the formation of a transition state like this. Here also the extent of formation of carbon-boron bond would be higher than that of carbon-hydrogen bond. So the bond order of carbon-hydrogen bond in this transition state will be less than that of carbon-boron bond. So this will be the structure, this of the transition state in this pathway, in this possible pathway. So this transition state will be also unsymmetrical. The boron center will possess a del negative character, and in this case, this carbon center will possess the del positive character. Why this carbon center? Because the double bond is breaking in this fashion. Okay. So these are the two possible transition states. Now we will compare these two transition states in terms of electronic factors and steric factor, and we can see then which transition state will be easily formed, and then we can easily predict which pathway will be the most favorable pathway. So first let us consider the electronic factor. Since this carbon center is possessing the del positive character, and also this carbon center containing a CH3 group, which we know that it can stabilize any adjacent carbocation via electron donating plus I effect or electron donating hyperconjugation effect. So this del plus character will be stabilized by this CH3 group. But in the second transition state, there are no such groups attached with this carbon center. Only hydrogens are there, 2 hydrogens are there. So this del plus cannot be stabilized in this transition state. So we can see that in terms of electronic factor, this transition state is more favorable than this transition state. Now if we consider the steric factor, here we can see that this BH2 group and this CH3 group are as far as possible in this transition state. So there is basically no steric repulsion between them. But in this case, this BH2 group is very close to this CH3 group, and this will result in a steric repulsion between them. Thus, in terms of steric factor, this transition state is also very unstable. So considering both the factors, we can easily see that the second transition state will be very unstable compared to the first transition state. Right? So now we can say that the first step or the first transition state will form during the reaction, and then the bond breaking and bond forming will be complete, and this will generate our desired monoalkyl boron. This is the product of this step. So now we can see why the reaction is very stereospecific in nature as well as highly regioselective. The regioselectivity coming from these two factors, electronic and steric, and the stereospecificity, that is the scene addition, is coming from this factor, right? So the mechanism is completely explained. Now it will be very easy for you guys to understand the hydroboration reaction, right? So after that, we can see that this BH2 group now contains another 2 hydrogen atoms. So if the alkene molecule is in 3 equivalent in the reaction mixture, then this 2 BH bond will undergo the same hydroboration reaction as we have just seen. So what will happen? There will be another hydroboration step, and this time the hydroborating agent will be this monoalkyl boron. This will react with this alkene and the product will be this one. And the last BH bond will be again replaced by another alkene molecule, which will result in the formation of a trialkyl boron. Now the reaction is complete. The hydroboration step is complete. So after getting this trialkyl boron, now we will cleave or we will oxidize this compound to get our desired alcohol molecule. For that we have to perform the treatment with hydrogen peroxide in aqueous sodium hydroxide solution. I am initially giving you the products of this oxidation step, and then I will go into the detailed mechanism of this step. So the products will be 3 alcohol molecules, which is propanol in this case, and this boric acid. Okay, so now let us consider the oxidation mechanism. The trialkyl boron is this one. To simplify the overall mechanistic steps, we can consider this molecule as R3b, where R is equals to the propyl group, that is this group. I am representing this group with R. So the overall formula will be now R3b, and this will simplify the overall mechanistic steps. So what will happen? First, there will be the formation of the nucleophilic species, which is the hydroperoxide anion in this case. So hydrogen peroxide will react with the OH minus. This OH minus will abstract a proton from this hydrogen peroxide molecule, which will result in the formation of this nucleophile. If we compare the nucleophilicity between the OH minus and hydroperoxide anion, we can easily say that due to alpha effect, the nucleophilicity of hydrogen peroxide is very higher than that of OH minus. Alpha effect is what? If you have a compound in which 2 heteroatoms are there, which contains lone pair. So you can see that these 2 lone pairs will undergo a electronic repulsion, and this repulsion will increase the overall energy of this system. If you consider in terms of molecular orbital theory, then you can see that if the energy levels of the lone pairs are this, then after the interaction, two molecular orbitals will form. This is the lone pair of this nitrogen, and this is the lone pair electrons of this nitrogen. So they will interact with each other, and thereby two newly formed molecular orbital will be generated. And then if we fill the molecular orbitals with 4 electrons, then the first pair will go into the bonding orbital, and the rest of the 2 electrons will go into the anti-bonding orbital. So now we can see that the one pair of electrons now raised in energy. So the overall energy of this system is increasing after the lone pair interaction. So this is basically the alpha effect. You can also see the organic chemistry book by Jerry March where the alpha effect topic is discussed. So now let us consider our reaction. So this hydroperoxide anion will attack the boron center, which is sp2 hybridized and contains a vacant p orbital. So it is Lewis acidic in nature. And here the hydroperoxide anion will behave as Lewis base. So there will be an interaction between these two species, and which will form this adduct, Lewis acid base adduct. Right? If we draw the structure in a more reasonable fashion, then it will look like this. We can see that the central boron atom possessing a negative charge and the hybridization state is changed into an sp3 hybridization state. So since this boron atom possesses a negative charge, so it will try to undergo a rearrangement or any kind of molecular arrangement to go back to its initial state, that is the sp2 hybridization state. And for that reason, one of these 3 R group will migrate to this oxygen atom, and this peroxide bond will break, and OH minus will leave as a leaving group from this system, and this will generate the formation of this species. So one alkyl group is migrated over this oxygen atom, so that's why OR bond is formed, and the other R groups are there, this one and this one, and this OO bond is broken and OH minus is no more. So this will be the structure. So this molecule will again undergo another attack by the hydroperoxide anion, and that will again lead to this kind of migration in the negatively charged boron center. So the second step will produce this compound, and after that another attack will take place by the hydrogen peroxide anion, and this will ultimately lead to the formation of this species. Right? So this boron center will be then attacked by OH minus, and as soon as this OH minus attacks this boron center, this OR will leave from this system to form this alkoxide, and this alkoxide will essentially take a proton from the solvent and will be converted into the corresponding alcohol. So like this, 2 more attack by OH minus will take place which will eventually produce 3ROAH and the boric acid. So this is the overall steps of oxidation by hydrogen peroxide in aqueous sodium hydroxide solution. So now if we consider this migration step, remember during any kind of migration the stereochemistry of the R group is retained. Stereochemistry retained during the migration. We all know that, right? And for this reason the syn relationship is maintained in the product molecule. So in this case we have started our reaction from this molecule to this molecule. By oxidation in presence of hydrogen peroxide in aqueous sodium hydroxide solution. So we have started by taking this as the substrate. So here the syn relationship is between the BH2 and hydrogen, and since this oxidation step involves this type of migration, and during migration the stereochemistry is retained, and that's why in the product, which is the alcohol, the stereochemistry between this hydrogen and this OH, which was initially seen in case of BH2, will be also retained. There will be also a syn relationship between this OH and this hydrogen in the product molecule also. Right? So this is the complete mechanism of hydroboration as well as the oxidation steps. So now if we consider this example, suppose we have this compound which is an alkene and we want to perform hydroboration followed by the oxidation with hydrogen peroxide in aqueous sodium hydroxide solution. To get this product, obviously this will be the product, but it was found that the regioselectivity is 80% when the boron molecule is used as the hydroborating agent. So 80%, although it is a reasonable number, but it can be improved to a much higher number, like above 90%. To do that, we have to control the steric factor during the reaction. We cannot control the electronic factor for a particular substance. We have two factors. One is steric factor, another is electronic factor. So electronic factor will be same regardless of the hydroborating agent, because the electronic factor comes from the substrate molecule. But we can control the steric factor if we replace one or two of these hydrogen atoms of boron and thereby make it a very bulky boron compound. Then we can control the steric factor in the transition state. Remember the transition state? So by controlling the steric factor, we can also increase the regioselectivity during this reaction. Remember one thing, the stereospecificity, that is the stereospecific syn addition, will be intact. There is no change in the syn addition, but there will be some little bit decrease in the regioselectivity when normal boron will be used. But this regioselectivity can also be improved by using bulky boron compounds as a hydroborating agent, which controls the steric factor in the transition state, not the electronic factor. Electronic factor is constant for a particular substrate alkene. So how these bulky boron are used? There are several bulky boranes which are used as the hydroborating agents. For example, this is an example of dicyamyl boron, which is also written as this Si alpha 2 BH. So this group is essentially the isoamyl group, and since there are two isoamyl group, that's why it is called dicyamyl group, diisoamyl group, and from that dicyamyl group, right? So this is an example of bulky boron reagent. Another example is thiaccyl boron. It is represented as this THBH2, thiaccyl boron. So this is essentially a tertiary hexyl group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon atoms, and all the centers are tertiary. That's why it is called tertiary hexyl boron, or in short form thiaccyl boron. Another interesting hydroborating agent is this compound, which is called 9BBN. It is also represented as like this, or it can also be represented as like this in short form. Okay, so these three are very famous in hydroboration reaction. So how they will be formed or generated? So if we perform a hydroboration reaction on this particular alkene, the first step will be very fast, which will lead to the formation of this compound, this monoalkyl boron. Then the second step, in which this monoalkyl boron will react with another molecule of the alkene, will be also fast, and this will lead to the formation of this compound, this dialkyl boron. And after the formation of this dialkyl boron, we can see that these two bulky groups are there, so no more hydroboration will take place because its reactivity is now very less. Less reactivity, and due to less reactivity, this dialkyl boron will behave as a very high selective reagent for hydroboration. The less reactivity always increases the selectivity, so highly selective. So this is the case for dicyamyl boron. If we consider the formation of this thiaccyl boron, so if BH3 is reacted with this alkene, it will lead to the formation of thiaccyl boron, and after that, due to steric crowding, this monoalkyl boron will go no more hydroboration reaction, and here again the less reactivity will promote its selectivity. And in this case also, if we treat this cyclooctadiene with BH3, initially monoalkyl boron will be generated, and then again this double bond will react with this BH2 group, which will lead to the formation of this 9BBN. And this 9BBN is also an example of very high selective hydroborating agent. So now if we perform this same reaction with Si alpha 2 BH and then perform our oxidation step with hydrogen peroxide in sodium hydroxide solution, we will obtain our desired alcohol, where the regioselectivity will be now increased to 98%. So look how interesting this is. Simple steric factor can promote the regioselectivity from 80% to 98%. So this is organic chemistry. You have to understand this, all these things. Okay. So this is it, guys. The video is already very long. So the examples regarding the hydroboration oxidation of alkenes as well as alkynes will be discussed in the next video. So please subscribe to this channel if you are getting any help from these videos. So thank you for your valuable time. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video.